Thank you for sharing in the start of a brand new episode in our saga. Right, somebody must have got that, surely.
When we recognise one another's values in a relationship, it means that we can love and respect one another in such a way that a compromise can always be reached. To find that person we love who matches our passion is something truly beautiful, and that's the way it is with love. It's meant to be felt and not just described.
Dress up in the rags of your love, and what ensemble would they be? This one began as a sci-fi lullaby, a witchcraft fairy tale. Without meaning to oversimplify, Fiona and Gary were like a jumble cell. He was Ron to her Hermione, or worse, Han to her Chewie. From the flute-playing Droopy McCool to the colourless balding Wormtail, these two have their own peculiar style, but what fool would deny such a perfect couple going the mile? Slithering, dithering, changing the bridesmaids' dresses 2 months before the wedding. Holy mother of cats. Only a McCallum could brood for so long over fashion. But dig a little deeper and you'll find what brought these two together. It was books and films and theatre, song and dance and picture, lights, camera, action. There is no lens with a filter manufactured which could capture a fraction of the attraction Fiona sees in Gary dancing in his Darth Vader pyjamas. Today though is no Comic Con, musical society or cosplay convention. The stage is your life and the first act is your wedding. Steady your Jedi mind, fill your half-blood heart, and always retain this love you already have for one another, till Death Eater, till Death Star do you part.
So, how did it all start? Well, Gary and Fiona's paths first crossed many years ago, back in 1995-96, when they joined the Clydebank Musical Society. Now, they didn't strike up a conversation right away, despite working quite closely on the same team, producing 3 shows. Then, in 2012, after a 14-year hiatus, Fiona returned to the Society and they were officially introduced during the very first rehearsal for Me and My Girl. Gary's first impressions were that Fiona was great fun and with an honest heart, although he confesses that her frequent bringing in of homemade baked goods helped swing it somewhat. Fiona thought Gary was nice and friendly too. However, it was another 6 months before they started getting closer and their friendship developed. They discovered they had lots in common. Now, Gary was smitten as soon as Fiona shared her comic book collection. Fiona was highly impressed by Gary's many pictures of cakes. So the relationship began to blossom and their friendship deepened. Now, although they were both a little cautious to admit how they felt, they did jump at the chance of spending any free time together, comic conventions, walks and drives. And then for their first film, they went to see the appropriately titled About Time. Now, just like many of the best plays and musicals, their love seemed to be written in the stars. Fiona just knew that Gary was the one for her, even before they started going out. After she'd queued in the rain for 3 hours just so she could hang out with him at a comic convention, she realised that she was head over heels. From day one, she always felt a comfort and happiness in Gary's company, and she really missed them whenever they couldn't be together. She's told me how he never fails to make her smile, and he always accepts, or at least puts up with, her weird behaviour. She's never felt like she has to change or become someone different around him. And for Gary, he realised that Fiona was the woman he would marry the very day after they first discussed their feelings for one another. After enduring what can only be described as the longest working day ever, they went for a drive to Balmaha and they shared a walk in the moonlight before returning home. He knew then that Fiona was the one for him.
Do you want to sit on the chair? She wants to sit on the chair. Come on then, you sit on the chair.
It's been really outstanding, and as you can see, you've got the theme of Harry Potter and Star Wars. What you probably didn't know is one of Fiona's favourite films is Gone with the Wind, and she specially brought the wind today, just for that side of things.
Fantastic.
First of all, I just kind of want to say a few words about Fiona. To me, sorry, I'm the crier. In case you didn't realise, to me, you're not just Fee the performer or Fiona the risk analyst. You're my wee sister. The one that came along and disrupted 6 years of perfect only child life. But I'm so glad that you came along. We're really proud of you.
Can I get a wee hug? Daddy,
Sorry, stop crying. You're somehow the glue that holds it all together. It's usually to eat food, but also through the hard stuff as well. You've always been there. You're always the one with the ideas, and you always make them a reality, because we all have ideas. But she's always the one that puts it all together and drags us out to places and makes sure we're three, omni, trium, perfectum. All good things come in threes. So, Fee, this is definitely your greatest show. Definitely.
So I've known Gary for a long time, as I said. He joined Clydebank Musical Society to help backstage with Stage Crew with a whole bunch of other people. And I have to say, of all the people who joined at that time, Gary is the only one who's been dumb enough to stick out with me and Alan for this long. We've grown from awkward teens who thought we were all that, and there are photos out there that prove we were not. And that Gary kept his hair in curtains way past when it was cool. Into the awesome dudes that are all that you see before you today. But in all seriousness, I know I'm just echoing what everyone else is thinking. You really are a wonderful, wonderful couple. And this is going to be the start of a long and happy union. I started with a Star Wars quote. I'm going to end with a Harry Potter quote. Albus Dumbledore said, "It does not do well to dwell on dreams and forget to live." But for both of you now, you don't need to dwell, as you're getting to live those dreams.
You know, cats are a big part of Gary and Fiona's heart and home, so it was only fitting that Gary recruited them to help with his plans to ask Fiona to marry him. It was the 18th of September. Fiona had just finished a particularly difficult day at work, and she was now curled up on the couch watching some TV. Gary was in the other room putting the final pieces of his mission into action. He had managed to persuade their first cat, Braggy, into sporting a ring box around her neck, and he was going to pretend to Fiona that he thought Braggy had suddenly become very ill. A sure way to check, he told Fiona, was for her to shake the bag of Dreamies beside her and await Braggy's response. Of course, Fiona panicked and she frantically shook the cat treats. And as every cat owner knows, if you do that, you're usually guaranteed an animated response. So sure enough, Fiona was met with what she describes as the scene from The Lion King where the wildebeest charge in. Still concerned for Braggy's health, she didn't realise that the cat was wearing a ring box, and she removed it to continue checking the cat. She actually thought the ring box was part of her secret chocolate stash from under her bed. "What's in the box?" a slightly nervous Gary said. I'm pleased to say Fiona soon realised that it wasn't chocolate, and here we are today.
Fiona, I take you to be my partner for life. I promise, above all else, to live in truth with you and to communicate fully and fearlessly. I give you my hand and my heart as a sanctuary of warmth and peace, and pledge my love and devotion as I join my life to yours.
Thank you. Gary Andrew Knox, do you take Fiona McCallum to be your lawful wedded wife?
I do.
If you would like to place the ring on Fiona's finger. Fiona, if you could make your vows to Gary.
Gary, I take you to be my partner for life. I promise above all else to live in truth with you and to communicate fully and fearlessly. I give you my hand and my heart, and as a sanctuary of warmth and peace, and pledge my love and devotion as I join my life with yours.
Fiona McCallum, do you take Gary Andrew Knox to be your lawful wedded husband? If you'd like to place the ring on Gary's finger.
3, 2, 1, go!
When we were putting the ceremony together, one of the things that I asked Gary and Fiona to do as part of their homework was to give me 3 reasons that they felt really summed up why they loved one another. So this is what they said. Fiona said, I love Gary because of his kind, friendly nature. He rarely says anything bad about people, even when they've done wrong. He never tries to change me or want me to be a different kind of person. He embraces my weird and wacky side. Sometimes he even encourages it. He always finds ways to make me smile and laugh and feel like we're always on an adventure. And Gary said, I love Fiona because she always makes me laugh, even when she's not trying to be funny. I love how wacky, weird, eccentric she is. And I love her because she's always up for trying new things and she loves a good adventure. I also asked them what was the best piece of advice that they've given to one another. So Gary's advice to Fiona was, don't ever change. And Fiona says, Gary, learn to make decisions faster or leave them all to me.
Obviously, I'm in Quartiers and it's a beautiful place to be. I can't help thinking Fiona really wanted it because it looks slightly like the Grand Hall in Hogwarts. And if she could have had floating candles, they probably would have, but I think there was a health and safety violation in that somewhere. First off, looking stunning. She does. It's very Disney princess, which I half expected. Marion said earlier on, obviously, myself and Fiona, it took a while for us to realise we knew we liked each other, but the others didn't know. I kind of half think that Jamie and the guys had a pool going to see would we or won't we. If I'd known this, I could have put some money in. I'd probably have still lost. If I've got a Han Solo pin on, you're very much my Leia. I mean, the only thing me and Han have got in common are the second letters of our first names are A. And we both fell in love with a strong, determined, independent princess who actually didn't need saving in the first place and kind of saved them in the end. To speak a bit about how I feel about Fiona, I'm going to nip to one of my favourite films. Can anybody guess what it is? Empire Strikes Back, you're wrong. You've seen the I Know, and to me this is the most romantic scene in cinema history. People are going, what, really? Is when Han's about to be frozen in carbonite, okay? So he's standing there, his girlfriend's dad is about to freeze him in front of his best pals and his girlfriend. and sell him to the worst bounty hunter in the galaxy to be a wall ornament in a big giant slug's wall romance, right? But the thing between them is she says, I love you, and he replies, I know. Now, a lot of people think that was ad-libbed. It wasn't. What happened was he was meant to say, I love you back, or I love you too, or something like that, and nobody thought it sounded right for him. So the director and Harrison Ford went away and talked about it, and they came up with 2 words instead of 3 or 4, and it was, I know. Because the person you love usually doesn't need to hear you say I love you, they just need to hear something that they will understand means the same thing. Okay? Now, when I say I know to Fiona, it doesn't just mean I love you. It's always meant, I know you're the one for me. It's always meant, I know we'll have a long and happy life together. And it's always meant that I know no matter what comes our way, we'll see it through and we'll always come out stronger than we did before. So as long as you say to me, I love you, I will always reply, I know.
From the first time we hung out at Glasgow Comic Con in July 2013, he became the person I always wanted to be around. I was fortunate to meet someone who not only had a lot in common, but he has a big heart and amazing dance moves. And I even have a fondness for listening to his stories or bits of trivia, which most of the time he forgets he's already told me, so I know them all pretty well. Why did I fall for Gary? Well, it didn't dawn on me at first that I liked him, even when I waited in a 3-hour queue in the rain just to hang out with him. That moment came when someone else told me that I was just a silly dreamer, and Gary, being Gary, swooped in like the Doctor in his TARDIS, suggested that we go for a drive and go watch the stars. Some people try to tie you down and others will let you fly, and that's what Gary is to me, the one who gave me the TARDIS.
I don't get many things right the first time. In fact, I'm told that a lot. Now I know all the wrong turns, the stumbles and falls brought me here. And where was I before the day that I first saw your lovely face? Now I see it every day. And I know that I am the luckiest. What if I'd been born 50 years before you, in a house on the street where you live? Maybe I'd be outside as you pass on your bike. Would I know? And in a wide sea of eyes, I see one pair that I recognise, and I know that I am the luckiest.
Or we play nothing.